isn't working currently, but his wife earns decently in a business. She spends a third of what she earns on family, a third she keeps in savings, and the remaining third she gives to her parents. Her husband objects to it and asks her to stop sponsoring her parents as they're not needy and keep the remaining third also in savings. He told her it is his right to channel her spending. She denies it and asks for evidence. They are from India. This is a frequently asked question. And through my humble experience, whenever issues over money arise, this usually does not end well. Whenever there is a dispute over wealth, over property, over spending, this means that the relationship between the spouses is not positive. And the vast majority of such problems come when the wife is working and she's earning. And sometimes she earns more than the man. And this is when the man intervenes and wants to have control even on the wife's salary, or to at least have control where she spends her money, and dispute arises. So what's the ruling? First of all, we have to go to the basics. It is not something that is dependent on our logic or our taste or even our culture. No, it's not the way to judge things. In the early 60s and 70s of the previous century, the 20th century, the Muslims were bombarded with movies, TV series, with programs depicting and ridiculing a man with more than one wife. So what is called polygamy, or having more than one wife, was fiercely fought and attacked. And this changed a lot of the perception and the ideas of the people, to the extent that it became normal for housewives, even in the lands of Islam, born to Muslim parents, living in a Muslim country, it was normal for a woman to say, let my husband go abroad, commit adultery, fornicate, does whatever he wants, and come back to me after a month as my own husband. And this is better for me, she says, than him taking a wife in halal, where she would be a co-wife to me. Subhanallah, she accepts him to commit adultery, and she turns a blind eye to that, so that he would not get married in halal, as Allah has prescribed for him when there is a need. Likewise, nowadays, we're bombarded through the media, through women movements, you too, me too, we too, he as well, movements, calling for empowerment of women. We have bloggers, we have YouTubers, we have celebrities coming and brainwashing with filth the brains of women, telling them in confidence, you can make a difference. You can be your own decider of how your life goes. You don't need no one. You can be independent. You have your choice. You have your freedom. Your face is your identity. Don't let anyone cover it. Don't let anyone suppress you and hide you and tell you what to do and what not to do. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. If Satan were to come, he wouldn't add anything more, because all what they're calling people to is to go out of the boundaries of Islam. This is what their actual mission is. Now, some of them, out of courtesy, would probably say, you can do this through the Islamic channels or through the Sharia. How? You want to give women empowerment. You want her to get married without a guardian. You want her to travel without a mahram. You want her to do whatever she wants, take off the hijab, come out in Western clothes, mix with men. Where is Islam? She says, I pray 5 times a day. Why do you cover your hair when you pray? Because Allah told me to cover, and my prayer would be invalid if I prayed without covering my hair. Touché. So why don't you cascade this to the rest of your life? The moral of what I want to say, I don't want to waste your time on such a topic. The people nowadays are bombarding women to be independent. So if you work, then you're independent. You don't need a man. And so many times we hear this, my job is more important than my husband and my kids, because my job gives me empowerment. My husband and children, they'll tie me down, and I would not benefit from that. So if we go back to the basics, we know that this is not the way Islam works. A wife is dependent on her husband. This is the norm. She is obedient to him, and he is the guardian, and he decides almost everything in the household. He decides for the family, for the betterment of their lives, and for them to progress and to move on forward. This is the norm. But there might be exceptions. There might be black sheep in the family. So we have to look at each case by case scenario. Now, as for Zaryab question, if a woman is currently working, let us ask, was this condition stipulated in the marriage contract? Meaning that when you proposed, her guardian or she said, I'd like to have your consent that after marriage, I'll continue to work. And he says, I agree. So they stipulated a condition and he agreed. In this case, he's obliged to allow her to work. Not only that, he has no control over a single penny of what she earns. And he has no right, none whatsoever, to tell her who to spend it on and who not to spend it on. This has to be cleared. Secondly, if the condition was not fulfilled, was not stipulated, they did not ask for it. Though she was working, but when they made the marriage contract, they did not stipulate this condition. After marriage, it is the right of the husband to decide whether to allow her to work or not to work. Why? Because this is the meaning of the constitution of marriage, that the wife stays home and the husband works and provides. Simple as that. Now, if he allows her to work, this is his decision. And by allowing her, he would compromise some of his rights. Because instead of her being home 24/7, taking care of his house and of his children, of him, he is losing like 10 hours a day for her to work. Here, it is something that they must reach a mutual agreement. So the husband in such a situation has the right to say, I don't want you to work. And it's a must that she obeys him. Or he says, I allow you to work, but you have to compensate me by paying, for example, for the driver or for the maid who's working instead of you, cooking and cleaning, or to give me like 25% of your salary. This is what they agree upon. It's a business transaction. The wife has all the right to say, this is not fair. You're not a man to ask such thing from your wife. I'm quitting. This is her God-given right. She quits, she sits home. It's his job. But does life go on like this, either my way or the highway? It doesn't. Basically speaking, I do not approve of men taking anything from their women. I do not consider a man to be a proper real man when he stretches his hand begging his wife for allowance or for her to buy the food. If he's stone broke, he should act like someone who's stone broke, rather than being arrogant and insisting on this and that as if she's obliged to work. She's not obliged to work. And at the same time, I'm addressing this to the wife. You have to be wise. So you have to balance things up. First of all, every single penny that you pay for the household, for the food, for the rent, for the electricity, the utilities, Allah will reward you for this if you anticipate the reward from Allah Azza wa Jal. Because it's not your obligation. You're not forced to do this. Even if you are rich, it is not your responsibility to spend a dime on yourself, on your children, or on the house. This is his duty and obligation. If he's jobless, tough luck. My money is my money. He has to manage. So if you are giving a helping hand, may Allah reward you. This is good. Now, if he says that you must not pay 1/3 of your salary or income to your parents, I think that this is a bit stupid, with all due respect. Yani, he doesn't work, he doesn't provide, and he wants to be treated as a man at the end of the day. And Simon says, don't do this. Simon says, do that. This is pathetic. This guy is out of his mind. So as a woman, I am addressing your diplomacy and intellect. Don't go down to his level. Don't share with him any of your expenses. Beware of having a mutual bank account. This is one of the wrong places to be in. Your income, your money, your wealth, keep it in your savings, your own bank account. Nobody knows about it. His savings and money, nobody knows about it. It's his. But when you share everything that, oh, I got a raise, I got a bonus, my salary was deducted so and so. With him, he tends to get greedy. So you have to separate these things. And don't tell him whether you gave your mom or your parents something or not. This is not his responsibility. May Allah reward you for spending 1/3 of your income over the house when he is jobless, but you have to reach a compromise with him. You have to reach a mutual understanding that, listen, let's be realistic. You cannot beg and at the same time set conditions. So I give €1 to this beggar and he says, what would I do with €1? I can't buy a pack of cigarettes. At least give me 10. I look at him, what is this? When you're begging, you're having the lower hand. So whatever comes, you say, Alhamdulillah, praise Allah, and move on. Not to put such conditions. But at the end of the day, Islamically, we judge it upon whether the condition to work was stipulated in the contract or not. If not, then you have to reach a mutual understanding, compromise, and try to find a solution out. And remember that you're setting a target, and that is to preserve your marriage and your family. If you go down the road of checking every single penny you paid and where he placed it, and he's holding you accountable, and he is doing the record books behind you, then this marriage is not going to end well. May Allah Azza wa Jal make it easy for all of you.